I would invite the next speaker, Dr. Siddharth Mishra, for the closing remarks. Please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. One benefit of being chairman of an academic institution is that you are honored with a PhD degree without having worked for it. I'm not a doctor, I'm just Mr. Siddharth Mishra. I must say that this session has been very, very invigorating, and for past about 6 months I have been on my own trip of discovering my country, and this has taken me to places, as I mentioned yesterday, as diverse as madrasas of Azamgarh in Eastern UP to the CFM center in Jhabua in Madhya Pradesh. And I am particularly here to share my impressions about these places and about the three organizations, the three diverse fields about which presentations have been made today. I think Delhi Metro, the point was made very, very lucidly to you about this, and we all are witnesses to it. But I must share with you a thing about which Anuj did not mention was Delhi Metro, despite digging up the whole city and everything, always steered clear of any controversies. And despite it being a major developmental project which came to the city after, first time in its probably in its history, it managed to garner support of the people rather than their resistance. And they took up the challenge of initiating the first line in the most difficult area of Delhi, that was Northeast Delhi. The first line started from Welcome Colony to this thing. In fact, I had the privilege to be part of the first ride when then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee decided to play the Santa Claus and launch the metro at the time, on the Christmas time. And people were made to feel proud of the project which was coming to the city. Till then, public transport was a very, very difficult option in the city, and metro made people anxiously wait for that change to happen. And this, I'm sure, this is without taking away any credit from the engineers of the metro and other policy planners, the top management, Dr. E. Srinivasan, who became an icon, who is a living icon of this country. I think a major role was played by the communication department of Delhi Metro, which took initiative of, which in the government sector, I having been a journalist for 20 years, I can safely say Delhi Metro in the government sector became the first institution which had a very proactive communication setup, which would go out to people and tell people what we are doing. And rather than being, the generally tendency in the government is of secrecy, to keep things under the wrap. But Delhi Metro would go out of its way and announce to people, look, we are going to close this road for you from tomorrow. Now, so next morning when you are going out, you know which road is shut down. But at the same time, they would also give you the options, what are the other roads you could take. So this is how they were able to win people's support. There were a lot of resistance to Delhi Metro when the wall city was being dug up. Amar Talkies, which was brought down, a very old cinema hall of Delhi and all. But they were able to overcome it. And it was the first time that a government department started to come out with publications, coffee table books, showcasing their achievements. What are the trains which are going to come? What are the lines what is the line that they're building, and things like that. And so I think information as a major tool was used for the first time by one government organization. It was Delhi Metro, which was able to introduce not only a technological revolution, but a huge social change in a city like Delhi without really ruffling very many feathers. So that is my impression about Delhi Metro. about this milk movement, which I want to share with you. I really do not know much about Dakshin Kannada Milk Union, but milk has, has given us the biggest brand of our country, Amul. And I think, and it was again the vision of that man who could see that milk only does not, strengthen your bones, but it can also strengthen your brand. So it was the vision which that man had, Professor Verghese, who could see it and listen. I must share with you about, Amul is a very well-known brand, most of you know about it. I want to share another story about another milk federation and a story of sustainability. And I hope someday somebody goes out and does some research work on it. In a way, I got some insight about it traveling to Bihar a number of times. We have had it in Bihar is a state for the people who are not from this part of the from this country. Bihar is situated in the eastern part of the country, one of the very resource-rich states, but was very badly politically and administratively managed for 15 years. But even in those years, it was able to build a brand, the brand called Sudha, which has been launched now in Delhi and is going to compete with bigger brands like Mother Dairy and Amul. And the success story of Sudha, this Milk Federation of Bihar, is during this 15 years period when we had the Lalu Rabdi rule in Bihar. And it was during this period that this cooperative was able to come up. So this is a story, a great story in sustainability under very, very adverse conditions, where there was no market, when there was no transport networks, when there was no power, as you mentioned, for chilling and cooling. There was no concept of affluent management and all these things. But they still managed to survive. Probably there were social factors. One of the major issues was a social factor, but they were able to do it, and I hope someday this story also comes out somewhere, and probably in the next MESD somebody presents a paper on this issue. I have been able to personally see some of the work which CFM, Community Friendly Movement, has been doing. I have been to the Uttarakhand, in fact, when I saw their work, I requested Dr. Ravi Kar to invite them for our conference here. You see, Dr. Chaudhary, who made a presentation before you, is a practicing Indian farmer. ये भारत के किसान है. The picture of kisan that we have before us is very, very different. But he is actually a practicing Indian farmer who tills his land, who waters his fields. And this is not an isolated case, I must tell you this. There are large number of Indians who are going back to rural areas for rural development. And to my surprise, when I traveled with the CFM team for a conference for a Sarpanch conference. Now, Sarpanch is, in our system of governance, the lowest tier of democracy, the village level governance, which are headed by, villages. There, at that level, in a very backward district of India called Jhabua, it's a tribal area on Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat border. The only what you call signs of development there are the gas repressure plant of GAIL India there, which we all have heard about this HPJ pipeline, Hazira, Bijapur, Jagdishpur pipeline. So that pipeline comes from there, and it is there that the gas is repressured and this thing. And that's plant, because of that plant, and the CSR activity that that organization is doing there, that some rays of development have started reaching that area. So I must mention to you, and this was and the GAIL officials shared with me that they had found it very difficult to find social sector groups, who shout their, from the rooftops, but when they needed some social sector groups to go and work in these areas, none were forthcoming. Then this challenge was taken up by CFM, where Dr. Chaudhary is and whose secretary Saurabh Ghosh is here with us. They went there and they took this challenge. The tribals in Jhabua still carry the bows and arrows with them. I must share with you with this. And when you approach them, you are bound to be not only welcome with the images of tribals with bows and arrows, there are chances that one or two shots might come your way. So it was their effort, their initiative to take development to them. And and when I went for that conference, I actually saw these tribals with bows and arrows and wearing the cloth, which inspired Gandhi to wear his half dhoti, and barefoot. They did come and sit in that conference and interacted with the officials of volunteers of CFM and the officials of GAIL. And they had initially taken up 15 villages there for taking up CSR projects. And in that conference, it was interaction with these 15 people where they had 10 uninvited guests coming for this interaction, where they said in their own language, they, created a ruckus there that why isn't it coming to our village, that they want village to come to their village. From bows and arrows, they were, from welcoming, these volunteers with bows and arrows, they were actually coming and telling them to come over and participate in their work. So this is the change which development can bring. Now I must share with you, who were these volunteers who have worked there? You will be amazed. The team leader there, why I share this story with you, is team leader there, Manish Kumar, is a former student of Shahid Bhagat Singh Evening College. He was a student of geography department here, and then he went and did a course in watershed management, and that's how, and he lives there with the farmers. He has a team with the tribals, and he has a team of about 8-10 volunteers there, all graduates, postgraduates, holding degrees as specialized as watershed management and working with these tribals, and actually, having fantastic knowledge about goats and poultry and such things. And in fact, I had posted a full picture of mine with a goat kid sometime back on the Facebook when I went there last. So I think the point which I was trying to make was that somewhere when here in this conference halls in metropolitan cities like Delhi and other urban centers, when we discuss about lack of development in our country, I must assure you one thing, that the country is flush with funds, flush with projects. There are enough opportunities for us to contribute if we want to help in rural development. The challenge is to go to areas like Jhabua, where CFM is working, and take up that challenge, where one of your former students is working and has taken up that challenge. And in fact, I must share with you this. When at the end of this thing, I had gone there as social auditor, I was posing questions to those sarpanches and everybody, and then I asked this boy, that can you share your experiences? He was nonplussed. He couldn't speak. He was so passionate about the project. He was so involved with the project. His sense of involvement showed him that. So I think I think this is a challenge which has to be taken up. That when we go out of this conference halls, and when we talk about sustainability, and when we talk about development, how many of us are going to take up the challenge of actually going back to rural areas of India? I have traveled to 2 places, and I propose to travel to a few more in the coming months. In fact, the idea is to before the summer sets in. But I hope I get so involved with these, tours that I do go out and see these places in summers also. So the idea is that when you go out of these conference halls, I think there is need for us to go out of these conference halls and go to the fields, go to the rural areas, and see for yourself. We have a beautiful garden in our rural areas which needs our tending, and which needs our tending by sharing our knowledge with these people there. And I think not only in milk production, in many other areas, we will be number 1 in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Misha. Now, but I promised, would you? Okay.
The principal.
It was a great lesson for multinationals from the West and our own Indian multinationals that they can ensure sustainability and yet make good profits. We were talking about a day before in the press conference about the alternative models of business that could be used. Here are the examples. Here are the ways how we can do it. I think the West must take this lesson from this conference that yes, you can do it. Here is an alternative model of doing it. They are making profits and they are ensuring, well-being of the society, the community for which we are all discussing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Khurana. Let's take two questions. Please be brief and accurate. So, now we have.
My name is Joseph. I'm thrilled by the presentation about the milk. However, I want to ask a few questions concerning quality. I was reading in the papers about the report of the Indian Food Regulatory Authority that 65% of milk produced in India is adulterated. And sometimes not just with water, you have chemicals. So I'm trying to find out what are the measures you have taken in order to prevent adulteration, and how do we ascertain that the products you have are not adulterated.
Let's take another question. It's up to you, sir.
Yeah, I think we have somebody from Chennai. Let him ask. Okay. Vindhyachal.
Hello?
Vindhyachal, yes. To the person, our guest there. Please.
See, the first question to Madam, because of the paucity of the time, I am not taking all these other things. Now, if you can give some other data with reference to that your effluent quality, what was the BOD, what was the COD, what was the DO prior to the treatment and after the treatment, so that will be good. And that is, you are qualitatively mentioned. Had it been a little bit quantitative, it will be useful for the further research work. I hope that you will be doing it in your full paper for that matter. You will be giving it. Okay, the second question with reference to that metro rail, you have said about the carbon credit rating. So in that one, had these passengers traveled in the motor vehicles, this much amount of the oil would have been wasted and that carbon would have been emitted from that one. When you are doing that, had you made the proper detection for the matter, for the purpose of running this train, so much of electricity has been consumed. For the purpose of production of that electricity in the thermal power station, so much amount of the pollution has taken place. Whether due cushioning effect has been given for this one, then only that rating will be the proper, then only the sustainability will be there. So that has been given the due credit for that matter, I would like to know, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think he has to answer.
मेरा observation था sir.
Question पूछ लीजिए मिश्रा जी, एक request है.
Is this a question or how do you say? Yeah, I thought you, okay. So, can you take another question or?
I think those are the answers.
Okay, so let's proceed to answers. Please, Dr. Vas.
Okay, with regard to ma'am's question, the addressing of the issues was done. I want to tell you a little about Mangalore. We are a community. I mean, in our locality, I am not donkey praising one tail, but I just want to tell you that it's a very educated society where we have around 5 national banks were born from the area, and we have in a surrounding of 15 kilometers around 15 engineering colleges and 6 medical colleges. It's a very highly educated area. So the society is quite alive to the issues. So the first one was managed because of the neighbors like us who wouldn't budge. The second one, we have, I think, thanks to our municipal corporation, which is providing the necessary points here. Huge water requirements. I told you our society doesn't have as much of water as it should have. we are hard on water. So also power requirements, again thanks to MESCOM, which is managing this, there is actual shortage of, the union has to take care of this, otherwise the quality will be lost. And we have, maybe because of the heavy rains, we have terrible roads. And that's another thing which is again affecting the quality of the product. So these are the various reasons. And also the union has found out there is a benefit in managing this. Along with all these reasons, the union also was found that it was profitably managed. It could be profitably managed. And second, how to ensure, the FSSAI has standards. It has got standards set, and according to that, the product is checked. If there is a check on the product, and this cooperative product, it has passed its whatever tests are provided, it has passed all its tests. So I feel it is an accepted product, and it is it is not adulterated. It is not. Because our product is called Nandini. It's a product of Karnataka, whole of the Karnataka Milk Federation. And I feel it has passed. For that matter, I have also heard that the milk which is adulterated contains detergents. It is extremely dangerous product to consume if you are not in the organized sector. Organized sector is taking care of all these standards which are set by the FSSAI. Since cooperatives are in the organized sector, they have taken care to see that such matters are addressed. And thirdly, the quality of effluents before and after treatment. I wonder whether I have really addressed this problem in my full paper even. To the extent you asked, sir, regarding those
because for further research.
Yes. Maybe I could approach the Karnataka, this DKCMUL, so that I can provide the necessary further details, because they are readily available. There is no problem. Thank you.
Also, the amount of the question which you raised, what was the level of electricity consumed, and whether that was being factored into, that is factored into it.
Okay, sir. Regarding your question and what takes us to this organic farming business. So again, it's social, ecological, commercial aspects that led us to this field. As I mentioned, with the advent of green revolution technology, farmers have started using chemical fertilizers. But with the lapses of times, the farmers started using it excessively. And later on, the agricultural farm got accustomed to using that much amount of, consuming that much amount of fertilizers. Meanwhile, the price of these fertilizers are going up day by day. So farmers are using it at an increasing dose, at the same time paying extra cost for that thing. Now, till date, it is subsidized, the fertilizers from the government, or almost 50 or more than 50%. Recently, the government has taken a decision that the subsidy should go directly in cash form to the farmers. Last year, farmers purchased, let's say 50% subsidy, 4,000 rupees invested on purchase of the fertilizers. So this year, they have to manage 4,000, 8,000 on his own. Then they will receive the cash subsidy. And again, there are several fertilizers which are mineral based. So the mineral base is depleting day by day, and the government has to take some actions regarding this one. So in order to circumvent this situation, farmers must quit using this kind of things for economic and for the ecological reasons. Another thing which really drove us to this field, the multinationals as well as the domestic markets, the players from the domestic markets, they are coming to the farmers' doorstep for procuring this chemical-free food items, because there's a growing demands in domestic market as well as the international markets. So there are very good opportune moment for us as well as the farmers to come into this field.
Are hungry now. I need only 1 minute just to conclude. Thank you. I want to thank first the all presenters for their comments and their best practices. This conference is here to raise questions, and I would suggest all you to extend these discussions during the lunch, but more later and be in contact. And it is very important that academics to be in contact with corporation and try to do the way together. So hearing these presentations, I try to get to sort the main points. So I learned, or for me the best way to do that was to take the words of presenters. So the first presenter, Dr. Vaz, said that the question was how the enterprise has sustained itself. So this is very important. This is what pointed out Dr. Khurana. And in most of cases, when we're talking about sustainability and sustainable development, we think that sustainable development is costly, but you know, it could be a competitive advantage, and it depends how do you manage, how do you turn your business. The second remarks from Metro was that make business differently. This is very important. And make business differently, respecting, he said, the city, the environment, and the citizens. I would say respecting the whole stakeholders. This is what I pointed out at the beginning of this conference. And the third one was about the sustainability can be achieved through innovation. This is one of the main solutions today. We're talking about technological innovation a lot. We're talking about different kind of innovation, but the most important of innovation is organizational information. You can't do business and continue and keep the same organizational structures. You have to change your structure, and this is no one wants changes, and to change is very difficult. So technological innovations are a good start, but it's not enough. You have to change the complete organizational structure. And so thank you very much to all participants also. We'll close this session, and I wish you a good discussion and have a good lunch. Thank you.
So, please, sorry a minute. There is some customary. I would like to express my gratitude to my dear friend Sylvester for conducting the proceedings, although we have overshot. But I know since 9, this, the full hall is packed to capacity, and still they're listening. So a big round of applause for all the delegates and Pakistan. First of all, I would like to express sincere thanks to Sri Anush Dayal, the most printable and most visible face of Delhi Metro, for showcasing Delhi Metro's sustainability involvement in a very lucid manner. Further, the entire team of MESD 2012 and Bhagat Singh College would like to thank Delhi Metro for sponsoring this event. A big round of applause for Delhi Metro. Then I would like to thank Professor Nancy D. Costa for having delivered the case study of Dakshin Kannada Milk Union, which is now, we are not aware of this. It's a big round of applause for you. Further, I would like to express our gratitude to Dr. B.K. Chaudhary, a man from the grassroots and working in the grassroots, for making a difference to the country. Further, we are happy to announce that CFM, the community friendly movement, has also sponsored this event, MESD 2012. So a big round of applause for CFM also. we would express our gratitude to the friends from media and another noted journalist and our chairman governing body, Shri Siddharth Mishra, for giving a wide coverage to this entire proceedings. Thank you, sir. And last of all, once again, I am expressing our sincere gratitude to all these delegates, participants, our enthusiastic student volunteers who have been starving since morning. So a big round of applause and enjoy your jobs. And last but not least, one important announcement. You have a brief lunch. Assembly quickly at 2. Otherwise in the evening we will be forced to detain you till 6:30.